Everyone, it's Pastor Dan hanging out in the Student Center today. It's a Monday. It's sunny outside, but it's kind of cold, so hopefully this video finds you warm inside somewhere. How's everybody doing? How's your week going already? You know what? I'm excited for a lot of you. I know a lot of you have off tomorrow because it's election day, so you have a day off from school, so hopefully you enjoy your Tuesday tomorrow. I'd love to hang out with you guys. If you're not doing anything, give me a call. Drop by the office. We'll be hanging out here. I think some of us will be here helping clean up the youth room a bit, so if you're not doing anything tomorrow, feel free to come over, hang out with us tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon a little bit if you want. Hey, you know what? There's some cool things happen around here. If you have not heard, 10:45 every Sunday morning, we're hanging out with our 5th to 8th graders. So if you're a 5th to 8th grader or a mom and dad or a 5th to 8th grader listening in, we are back in person. We've been back in person for a while, hanging out every Sunday morning at 10:45. So make sure you sign up today. We have our sign up already up for this next coming weekend. And then for our 9th to 12th graders, our high schoolers, we're here at 6 p.m. every Sunday night. So if you've not hung out with us yet, we would love to hang out with you. If I've not met you yet, I've not met a lot of our high schoolers yet. If you have not hung out with us yet, I would love to hang out with you, get to know you a little better. We've had some great things happening around here, even on Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday night. If you've not seen this or not heard, we are together hanging out on Wednesday nights out here on the student patio right behind me together all fall. We've been just having some great times together with tailgate party and a squad wars night, a glow night. We even got off site one night, went to miniature golfing. And then you know what, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday, we're back here hanging out for another takeover night, but we're down in the hall in the auditorium. We're having a movie night, so it's going to be kind of a world premiere, kind of red carpet event. If you want to dress up, you can. If not, just come hang out with us. We'll have some photo op opportunities, some great food hanging out together, and then we'll be heading into the auditorium where it's nice and warm, not outside where it's cold, to watch a movie together. Just chill, just hang out together. We just need some time. You know, school's been crazy, the world's been crazy. It's just great to get together. So hopefully next Wednesday night you can hang out with us. We would love to see you then. So, hey, you know what? The main reason why we create these videos every Monday is to make sure that you know kind of what we've been learning, what we've been teaching here on Sundays. If you've not been here, we want to make sure that you are in the loop. You're not missing out on what we've been talking about. So you know what? Yesterday we started a new series called Jump. I mean, I don't know about you, but do you remember a time when you were a little bit younger, when your mom and dad let you jump off the couch? Maybe they jumped out, let you jump out of a tree. You know that moment where you jumped and you just jumped in faith. You know, you were going to land and you were going to be safe. Maybe you had an experience made at the pool where you were on the side of a pool, you were a little kid and your mom or dad were hanging out at the pool. They said jump. You jumped out into their arms, trusting that they would catch you. Well, you know what? We as young people have a moment. You know, this is kind of, for a lot of us, the moment of faith. We need to have that moment where we take a leap of faith. That's what we talked about yesterday, this jump, this moment of jumping out into our faith, to leap out into who God is and what we believe. Honestly, even if you don't believe in God at all, you're going to have to make a choice for yourself what you're going to believe. It takes faith to believe in God, and it takes faith not to believe in God. It takes a leap of faith to leap into the fact that God's word is not true, or it takes a leap of faith to jump into the fact that God's word is true. No matter who you are going to have a moment where you have to decide where you're going to jump into. What are you going to jump out into when it comes to your life as a young adult and into adulthood? So as we talked about yesterday is this idea, this moment, this jump moment that all of us have. So yesterday we talked about the idea of faith, this leap of faith that we have. So yesterday we started off just looking at our key verse. Our key verse the next couple weeks is Hebrews 11, 1-3. If you actually know the whole passage, know the whole chapter, Hebrews 11 is kind of a hall of fame, if you will, of all the people of faith. If you read the whole chapter, you hear lots of amazing people and amazing stories and amazing names. And each one starts off, but by faith, and in faith, they lived, and you hear this quick little snippet story of that person. But the chapter starts off with a challenge to us and an understanding of what faith is. It gives us 3 simple sections to understand this idea of what faith is. Let's look at this verse. It says this, now faith is confidence in what we hope for, assurance of what we do not see, This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. So here's the deal. I broke it down into 3 pieces yesterday. If you were here, if you were not, here's what we talked about. We talked about 1, that faith is the confidence in hope. That we can have hope for something more in our world than what we are doing, how we're living, and what we're seeing. We can have hope. Not hope like a wish, we wish it's true. Hope that in that we know, we understand the world is different, and we have a confidence that there is something more. You know, that's the fact. We live in a world of unseen things, but we can have confidence and hope in who God is. That's the kind of faith we can have when we read God's word and we study our world. See, confidence is not pride, it's not arrogance. It's simply a strong belief and understanding and saying, you know what, I know and I'm confident and I hope. I have hope in who God is. In a world that's hopeless right now, we can have confident hope. Something we've already talked about a bit this year is this idea. The second thing we talked about is this life of assurance. We have a faith that is assurance of the unseen. That's what the Bible verse says. Assurance of the unseen. It's not insurance, it's assurance. It's not a guarantee. That's not faith. Faith is stepping out into the unseen. What we see and what we know, we begin to understand as we read God's word and we live a life of faith, is what we have is assurance. We begin to find a new beauty, a new confidence, a new idea, a new way of living life. And we do that not based on what we see only, but based on what we also do not see. There's so much that's made up in our world that we do not see, but it is real. A lot of us talked about this a little bit yesterday. We asked for examples. The idea of gravity, you cannot see gravity, but you have to obey the laws of gravity. We talked about the idea of emotions, like things like love, right? We know love is real. We know love is a part of our lives, but it's not something we can see, and it's also something very hard for us to prove. But it's something that we can put our part of our life, right? And so what we do is we have this assurance of the unseen, that we live in a world made up of seen and unseen things. The Bible actually talks about this idea of substance, that we have a substance of hope. We have a substance of what we have. And then what happens is our world is made up of the unseen, and we can see God's power in it all. The final thing we talked about yesterday is the idea of life and understanding. Faith is life and understanding. Hebrews 11, 1-3 talks about we have this history. We have these ancient people that we can read about in God's word. And what we see is we see them being commended and celebrated because they lived a life, and they lived a life of understanding faith. That's a hard thing to really grasp, is an understanding of faith, a faith that's understood. But that is the moment we're in 5th to 12th grade. This is the moment we are as in teenagers. This is the moment when we choose for ourselves our hope, our confidence, our assurance, and our understanding of the life we're going to live. See, Hebrews 11, 1-3 just begins a whole beautiful chapter of being able to study these ancients, as the Bible says, or these people, this history that we have. And we can look around our world, we can see people who lived life of faith, and we can go, okay, I can see and understand the way they lived. I can take an example from them, a testimony of who they are. But also we can read God's word and see some really amazing stories and understand how we live and what's going on in our world when it comes to faith. But realistically, we can be thinking people. That's something we're going to talk about next week. That just because we're a people of faith doesn't mean we're not a people of thought. That what we can have is we can be a people of thoughtfulness. That we can think and be intellectual in our faith. And begin to understand that there's certain parts of our world that we can study. That's why we study history and math and science. That's why right now you're doing all this crazy schooling, even online or at home. It's important because of what it gives you is an opportunity to see your world that God's created for you. And that there's evidences that you can see that can back up your faith. Not every single aspect, but there's parts of your life, there's parts of our world that can give us an assurance, a confidence, and an understanding of our faith. Take some time with your family or your friends to talk about your faith journey and your faith story. What is your confidence? What is your hope? What is your assurance? What is your understanding of a life of faith? Because this is the moment, right now, these are the years when you have to decide where you're going to jump. What is going to be the direction of your leap of faith? Are you going to jump toward God, or are you going to jump away from God? Are you going to jump toward the things that God's word has to say to us, or are you going to jump away into other truths and other ideas and other thoughts? My prayer is for you that you will come join us the next couple of weeks as we talk about these ideas, as we think, as we believe, and also begin to understand our worldview, the way we view our world and our perspective. Thanks for joining us. We love to see you guys out every single week hanging out with us. We love to see you on Wednesday nights. Hopefully we'll see you back in person. If you've not joined us, feel free, as always, to reach out to us. Email me, call me, let me know what's going on in your world. We will talk to you very, very soon.